Thanks for downloading the magic. This is the Voodoo Chef, and this is the Voodoo Chef Podcast. Sit back as we enjoy part 2 of our interview with Jason Morey of Slippery When Wet and the Lovesick. Special thanks to my main man, Eddie C. Ed Carmack, for co-hosting. Tonight we talk about the top 3 and all about our fave music. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Voodoo Chef Podcast. It's time for the Voodoo Chef Podcast, where we will discuss all things voodoo from the Voodoo Studios located right here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. So to all my voodies out there, if you're looking for nothing but a good time, this is the place to be. Call your friends, knock on the neighbor's door, and let them know it's time to party like a rock star for the next hour. Join me and my guests and learn to voodoo like we do as we discuss our faves and the voodoo that we use. I'll put our guests on the spot as we ask for their top 3 and make sure and listen as we discuss some of our favorite war stories from the kitchens we've worked in. Sit back, grab a tall glass of your favorite libation, and enjoy this episode of the Voodoo Chef Podcast. What's going on, Voodies? We're sitting here in Voodoo Studios with none other than Jason Morey of the Slippery When Wet band and the Lovesick, my newest favorite band. Make sure you check them out. Joining us today is co-host Eddie C. Ed Carmack, the one and only. And no spelling bee jokes tonight, buddy. We're going to rock style. So sit back, relax, enjoy this episode of the Voodoo Chef Podcast. This episode of the Voodoo Chef Podcast is brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right. Make sure you stop by Temple Terrace Outback. See our boy Brent Brown. Grab your steak and all-you-can-eat shrimp dinner starting at $15.99. Here we go. All right, we're going to pick up right where we left off, talking about our top 3 hair bands. So sit back, relax, and see if your top 3 hair bands line up the same as mine, Eddie C's, and Jason Morey from Slippery When Wet Band and the Lovesick.
It was amazing.
So, you know, we're talking about all this music, my favorite music of all time, and it's 80s hair music. One thing we like to do on the podcast is ask for top 3s. So I sent you guys and talked to you guys before this. I want to know what our top 3 80s hair bands are. We'll just go around the room. We start with number 3, and then we'll go from there. I will start it off. Normally I don't, but I will because I absolutely love Warrant. And to me, they are my 3rd best 80s hair band. And it's kind of funny because we used to open with this song before we started getting to the original thing. Sure. And Janie Lane actually was in Orlando and hung out in some of the same clubs we hung out in. So kind of cool.
I've got a bunch tons of fun.
You know, I remember.
But imagine this: you're rolling into the club with the cherry pie guy into a strip club. You see what I mean? I mean, like other than girls. What else is another strip club?
Was he really a train wreck?
You know.
Was it Fame, the rise and fall of Fame? Was it?
Janie was.
In your opinion,
Janie was really talented. Really talented. The guy's pegged as the cherry pie guy. You know what I mean? I mean, that song wasn't even supposed to be on that record. Think about this with Warrant, all right? That second record, they'd already had it all in the can. It was supposed to be called Uncle Tom's Cabin. Uncle Tom's Cabin was supposed to be the lead-off single to that, all right? The label head said, I don't like where we're going with this. We need to go more poppy here and this and that. Jenny went home that night, wrote Cherry Pie. They recorded it the next day.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. And it became now Cherry Pie single, Cherry Pie, whatever. Cherry Pie is a horrible song. It's a piece of garbage. It's utter garbage.
But it did its job.
Sure. But I mean,
The hoopla, the pomp and
there was still some of
circumstance,
that.
the cartoony.
Well, take the rest of that record. The rest of that record had some elements of that. You know?
I love Warrant. I don't know if Uncle Tom's Cabin coming off as the first cut.
See, I think that would establish them as
total different band.
Well, just not a bunch of puff boys from Hollywood. That they've got a little more substance. That they got and it's almost Skid Row did the same thing.
Right.
Skid Row did that whole first big record and this and that, and then for the second one they were like, no, this is what we're doing, and hit it with Monkey Business, and that whole record is just
and
much heavier than.
And where did they end?
Well, what do you mean? Well, that album was the first. That was album. The week that album came out was when SoundScan actually changed their whole things, and so they judged it on instead of tracking sales and radio and whatever, it went strictly on sales. They are the first #1 album to ever come from that new era. Slave to the Grind.
I love Slave to the Grind, but I don't think they had the longevity that they might have had they stayed with the poppy feel. With the hairband feel.
I think there's only so far they could do that. And if they were wanting to have... They did that record for them. You know what I mean?
I think that's important. We just talked about it. I love the fact that you're writing music for you, and it talks about who you are, and it has a different feel. But I don't know, man. I think Warrant just killed it with Cherry Pie. Like it, don't like it. They hit the pop. They hit the mass.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a bottom line guy.
Well, listen to that song next time, and then listen to I Love Rock and Roll back to back. And you'll find yourself going, I love Cherry Pie. I'm telling you, it's one of those ones that was so similar. Not that I care. Everybody rips off everybody, and that's just the way it is. But I have to laugh. All I will ever remember about that video is the chick. So,
well, and I could even make the argument. Now, granted, this is reaching. If Cherry Pie never would have come out and he filed that, Jenny might be here with us today.
Possibility. It's fame.
He's got some unreleased stuff that he did, solo stuff that nobody's heard, and it's amazing.
Really?
Amazing.
So, Ed, who's your number 3 favorite hairband all time?
I'm looking at my list here. I choose a little more obscure stuff because I'm that weirdo. Always have been. By now, anybody who knows me or listen to this should know I am a conniver, a survivor, and a little bit of MacGyver. My number 3 is a one-hit wonder band because the singer was so fucking good that he has been said to have been the influence on one of the bigger ones. Okay? That band, the one-hit wonder band, not even one hit, they were no fucking hit wonder. Shark Island out of Los Angeles. Okay? Their album.
What the fuck is that?
See, this is why sometimes I just the rage courses through me, and I just want to fucking choke you until your lips turn purple and shit. But your wife is here, so anyway, Shark Island. Okay, first off, fuck you. Number 2, go find them. Number 3, if
they're
you
not
can't-
even on iTunes. No, I'm fucking with you.
Jesus Christ, this guy! I tell you, you're the reason.
Well,
you're the reason I drink.
They plucked the singer. He was the singer for Contraband, too, right? Is that the same band?
Contraband was after. That was a bunch of them from different bands.
But that singer
Vixen,
was
Michael
from
Schenker. Yes, Richard Black.
Yeah.
There we go. Paris Calling. I saw this video on MTV, ran right out and got that CD. I'm telling you, this album, not a clunker on it. start to finish, and it closes with a fantastic cover of The Chain by Fleetwood. This band beat wholesale ass. I'm telling you. But this guy, if you read a little bit on the internet, and even if you watch that video for this, they predate Guns N' Roses by a couple years. But it was widely said that in the LA scene, Axl had gone to see them and ended up copying some of his moves, kind of like where he did little serpentine things side to side. I really wouldn't know. I wasn't hanging out in the Rainbow at that time. So I would have been the guy down at the Viper Room, probably standing over River Phoenix's body going, "Die, motherfucker!" Anyway, that's my number 3, Shark Island.
You know, Ed, you've confirmed a few things for me here.
That he likes sharks.
and it's on your leg. I have no clue who Shark Island is.
Should.
You really don't remember this?
No, never heard this. And when you said that they covered Fleetwood Mac, it made me just want to turn it off. So
They do a great cover of The Chain, man. I'm telling you, Jake could probably verify it.
I haven't heard it, but I'll have to check it out. I mean, I know this song.
Yeah, this was their bigger one. He's trying to prove me wrong.
this is The Chain. I'm not a Fleetwood Mac fan. Ed, you normally turn me on to some awesome shit. Who's the band you told me about a couple weeks ago? 18-year-olds?
Oh, Greta Van Fleet.
I really dig
They're
that.
getting a big push.
Really dig that. Shark Island? You might have to go to
Shit Island.
Shit Island. Yeah,
No, man, this
Spinal
ain't
Tap.
even
The
the
review,
best.
the review of
best-
this album was simply
Best song on this album is called Get Some Strange,
The name
man.
of the album was Shark Sandwich.
And the review was simply 2 words: shit sandwich.
That's
They can't print that, can they?
Yeah, not a fan of this. Jay, give me your number 3, man.
See, now here's where you guys are gonna get mad at me.
Yep.
Hairband, like what are we calling a hairband here? Like Bon Jovi's not a hairband to me.
Just call a spade, whatever it is to you.
Like Enough's Enough's not a hairband to me.
to me,
They get lumped in with that.
But see, then if we're doing that, then I don't know. See, it gets too broad.
in your realm of what you consider hairband, what's your number 3?
Hairband. You know what? I'm gonna go.
Got a
with,
good groove.
Danger, Danger.
Danger, Danger. Their big song?
You probably have to go Bang Bang.
Naughty, naughty.
Yeah. Either or.
Saw them open for Kiss.
That means I saw them.
Yeah.
No, it
What
does
tour?
not. This was in.
Hot in the Shade.
No, I
Thank
did
you.
not.
I was.
I
there.
went and saw them.
You were
in-
there, you fucker. We were
I-
setting up for some shit
Slaughter.
show at the
You know how I
goddamn
remember it?
Stallion.
We went and saw them at the Miami
Yeah.
Arena, and I had to give a crackhead $20 to guard our fucking car. That was the safest thing. In that neighborhood, that was the way to keep it safe. Otherwise, you'd come back, and I think it was on 4 blocks.
Great song.
Ted Pulley, great singer. Band could have done something. Second record, they got a little stupid and released a horrible first single. Play Monkey Business. It's awful. It's one of the worst songs you'll ever hear.
Well, I might have to scroll down 30
And,
pages to get to it.
Garbage. This is their cherry pie. You might like it.
How come it reminds me of Firehouse?
I don't like it already.
So
Reminds me of
anyway,
Firehouse. I'm telling you, man.
and
I expect a guy to come out. And sing.
they released at the same time as Skid Row's Monkey Business. You can't have 2 Monkey Business, and more than that, you can't have the one that's shittier than the other.
Yeah, this is definitely.
Complete garbage.
I like
And the funny
bubblegum
thing
music.
is,
and this
there's
sucks.
some great songs on that second record, but this buried them.
And it was the first release.
This is the second album, first single off the second album.
Yeah, really, really bad choice.
He's got some new project, I think, with somebody he's working with. that he's
Construction?
done. Really? Yeah, right.
That is new project.
Yeah, he's a carpenter down at the Shoney's. No,
Yeah,
he's got
he
something
does
new
a
that's
bunch
pretty
of
good.
recording, yeah.
He's partnered up with somebody else, I think, who was in that scene. That's
Oh, he did a record with Steve Brown from Trickster.
That might have been it.
Yep.
I can't keep track.
Tokyo Motorcycle Brothers.
You know-
That's it. There you
You
go.
know, we're sitting here talking, and man, bands are just flying in my head that you forgot about. And a lot of good bands out there. A lot of good hair bands, and I love.
I
hair
still
metal.
have 2 rows on my CD rack in the little Harry Potter closet beneath my stairs. 2 whole long-ass rows of hair metal stuff. And I got to tell you, man, guys, it's not on any of the streaming services. I think the rights lapsed on that shit, and either nobody wanted to or nobody could pick up the rights and get it on there. There's a gap, and that's why.
Well, they're not seeing the worth in it because we might know them and this and that, but
Yeah.
as far as,
Love the Harry Potter reference. In an earlier podcast, Ed says, I'm the love child of Harry Potter and Shrek.
I do. That's what I look like. Man. I'm okay with it.
All right, so I don't know how many people may know this next band. They're still putting out CDs. They are you're probably going to tell me, the cheesiest of the cheese. They put out an entire album for Kiss, and it's Pretty Boy Floyd.
they got a new record coming out. You have to play their new song. It's awful.
Which means I'm going to love it because
It's terrible. You got to hear it.
It's so funny that you're saying this because I literally was laying in bed the other day and I played it. It's awful.
it's awesome.
Now, Leather Boys with Electric Toys. It's a good record. It's a good
Great.
It's a classic.
record. The Kiss tribute, great. And Ed tells me all the time that I'm so fortunate that my daughter likes the music that we grew up on. I mean, she's mad because we're not going to Megadeth and Scorpions. She's mad.
That got canceled.
Yep.
It did?
Yeah. Klaus has laryngitis.
But the bass player and the guitar player are going to be in town tomorrow at a guitar shop, just doing like a question and answer, meet and greet kind of thing. They're still honoring that.
Where's that at? You want to go?
Sure. It's down in South Tampa. Replay.
Where's the replay?
Britton Plaza.
Oh, down there. Oh, the guitar store.
That place, yes.
Well, Pretty Boy Floyd just kills it. How can you not like this? How can you not like the superhero look on the album? How can you not?
It's very Kiss Destroyer.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I was going to say.
What's wrong with
And
that?
how is that a bad thing?
I mean, you have to. Again, it's all about what you listen to, what you like.
Well, what you're saying is with big hair, they are a big hair band.
I don't think. I mean, there's no hair bigger. Come on.
Oh, dude, there's a reason that we have, like, climate change. That fucking band right there. All the shit they use in their hair, there's probably a hole in the ozone the size of one of those UFOs from Independence Day.
So
Shit.
yeah, they have a new record coming out. They're calling it their actual follow-up to this record.
That's the follow-up. How long this came out? When?
92, 91.
Really? That's when Leather Boys with Electric Toys came out?
I thought so.
I'll tell
That's
you,
why they never got their due, is because it was like
they're the best hair brand.
December
in the 1990s.
31st,
I thought that was
1989.
us.
That was it, man. You came out past that, you were fucked.
Public Enemies, is that the name of the album?
Yes.
Absolutely
Girl-
ridiculous.
Girls all around the world or girls all over the world.
Well, none of the songs are even charting. They
Oh.
just have the picture for it.
Yeah.
But 1989 was Leather Boys.
Maybe. Okay.
And Kiss of Death, by far their best album. Girls All Over the World, the only one that's on the
Oh boy. This is it.
pre-release.
Enjoy
Wait.
this gem.
Enjoy
I
it.
tell you, I'm digging it, man.
Simple 145. Come on, man. It meets all the criteria.
Count how many times he says girls from the start. Ready?
We gonna have a new drinking game?
I love it, man.
Jay's counting. He's on 5 now. 46
Guy's not drinking
seconds
game.
in. He's on 8.
Come on, it's garbage. Admit it.
And it's probably the garbage that I would listen to.
I'm digging it, yeah, man. I don't want everything to be like some fucking literary analysis of F. Scott Fitzgerald and shit, man. This is great.
Okay, so it's the Pretty Boy Floyd version of this. Do you know what song this is?
It's Kiss.
Of course it is. Alive 2, side 4.
Rocket Ride?
This is immediately what I thought of. Okay, maybe that's not. Maybe it's this one. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. Look, Jay's like, what the fuck are we doing? We're supposed to be talking about real music, and somehow we're on hairband.
He rubbed the lamp, and the genie came out, man. This is great.
So, Pretty Boy Floyd, number 2. Ed, what's your number 2?
Who does number 2 work for?
Okay, yeah. That's right. You saw that turd who's bossing. I got another. It's not even a one-hit wonder. This is a band that's still around today. Never, ever, ever did shit here. But their first album, or the first one put out here, still can't get this out of my car, or at least off my playlist. Band called DAD. Love DAD. I know, he's like, meh.
Netherlands or something?
They are from Denmark.
Yeah.
That was what they apparently... They had to say their name was because initially DAD, they said, stood for Disneyland After Dark. Well, I don't think the Disney folk, they don't take to anything that impugns their reputation. So they had one album out here, and apparently they were paid like $1 million for the advance on this thing. It's called No Fuel Left for the Pilgrims. This was the big video, Sleeping My Day Away. This, you know what this is? This is AC/DC with a country tinge, and I don't give a shit.
Still, I sit here and think you just pick these obscure things to pick the obscure things, but the song's not even 3 seconds in, and you're like naming the name of the track.
Oh, yeah. You could put me on one of those stupid-ass shows that beat Shazam shit. I'll show Jamie Foxx a thing or two, that motherfucker.
I don't think they're playing any DAT on there.
Yeah, they see me coming. They're like, all right, take everything before 1989 out.
Name this Kanye lyric.
Yeah. No. This whole album, another one, not a clunker. No ballads, no bullshit, just raw as hell. Almost no song goes past 3:15 on it. It's just fun. I mean, this is Rim of Hell.
That's Radar Low.
Now, Girl Nation, ZCMI, they're just fun as hell. This is it's lost Angus Young riffs. You know what the best part about this band is? Okay. Their bass player on this, his bass has 2 strings. That's it.
Bobby Dawes played 2 strings his whole career.
Yeah, exactly. But he actually has a guitar that has 4. This guy literally has just those 2 strings on his guitar. Okay, why bother with the superfluous bullshit? Just cut it down to the bone, man.
Dude, that was pretty quick and pretty dick.
That's gonna be right on my epitaph. Let me tell you. Love this band.
What's this song?
This one, Point of View.
9 seconds in. What the fuck?
No, love this band, man. It's just the riffs on this. It's just look. We all like those AC/DC copy bands. We all like Dirty Looks. We all like Rhino Bucket. This was the best of the bunch. Oh, this right here. This is shit. It's
you're gonna lose your membership in the
Jihad
DAD fan club.
Fucking Jihad. Love
15
it, man.
seconds in.
Yep.
Ed, you would have liked the guy I met at Eggs by the Bay a couple weeks ago. I met a couple dudes. Jay? What school did you go to in St. Pete?
Gibbs.
This guy. You graduated a year behind me in '89. 90. You would have been a year ahead behind this. I don't fucking know. I don't suck. That's too much math for me. Those ones. So I met a couple guys at Eggs by the Bay last weekend. The guy that was behind Tommy Lee's Sphere drum set and the Billy Joe's horn player. He's a Gibbs High School graduate. He lives here locally. And they were like hanging out with me, eating all the barbecue. We're talking barbecue. And then they go, yeah, last night we were over at the singer of AC/DC. What's his name?
Brian Johnson.
Yeah, we're at Brian Johnson's 70th birthday. And I'm like, fuck you both for that. Just fuck you both for that. But,
I didn't realize lives in Sarasota, too, is Joe Perry.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Who's he? No, I'm kidding. Oh. Another band I don't care for.
Wow.
I know.
You're not an Aerosmith guy?
No. Do you know how torturous that was to go to that concert? Where Kiss played first?
Oh, shit. Okay. Well,
And my wife liking Aerosmith, and I had to stay. Yeah, I was a little pissed. And I had to hear about it in both directions.
You can't hate them.
They're all right.
Huh.
I mean, what album do I like? What songs do I like?
It's got to be like toys. No? Rocks?
Everybody likes, that greatest hits collection, whatever it is, but I like the cheesy music.
The only greatest hits I like are Dolly Parton's. Ba-dum, ching. Thanks, folks. I'm here till Thursday. Now, I got to tell you, what my favorite Aerosmith album is? Probably one of their worst received ones. I worked in a record store when Done With Mirrors came out. We couldn't move 2 fucking copies of that thing because nobody knew what it was. It's because it said Aerosmith Done With Mirrors backwards on it. You had to hold it to the mirror for it to say Done With Mirrors. And this guy I worked with later on, he said his brother worked in the music industry, and he was just telling me this, like, they got back together, the original 5 with Done With Mirrors, and they put that out.
But they were still high then.
Yeah, they were still whacked. And they didn't like that album because they said it wasn't, the mixing wasn't finished. I got to tell you, it's a great raw album. Permanent Vacation was the big one that they got clean, and I believe they started co-writing with, Jim Valance and Desmond Child and all them. And, guys that have worked with Kiss. And that's when they got big again. But this guy I used to work with said his brother worked on their touring routing. And I believe when they toured for Permanent Vacation, Guns N' Roses opened, because this was right around 88, 87, 88. And he said, dude, they have to keep those two way separate, because the Aerosmith guys are trying to stay clean, and Guns N' Roses, well, they're not. And basically, if you did not keep an eye on Steven Tyler, it was going to be like squirrel, and he was going to be running off and then coming back with his eyes rolled halfway back in his head and heroin needles sticking out of his face. That's great shit.
Ed is just like, he reminds me of you. It's just music.
I'm flattered by the comparison. Thank you very
much. I mean, and the fact that he knows these like insane songs 8 seconds in is just disgusting. Jay, what's your number 2, man?
All right. Once again, I have to tell you with this list, I have ruled out Extreme does not count. Tesla does not count.
Why? I'm curious.
That's just not hair.
They're not hair to me.
No.
So
my daughter's pissed that we didn't get to see Tesla.
You've got to go. Tesla's amazing.
Twice we missed
great
it.
live.
Tesla's amazing. So my number 2 is going to go with one of the bands who I think put out one of the greatest first debut records ever for rock, and that's the Bullet Boys.
Great band.
Oh God, don't play this one.
Yeah, this is the re-recorded version.
Yeah.
What the fuck, yo?
Yeah. Mark hasn't been able to sing in 17 years.
I heard every time he comes to town, he gets arrested. Child support.
Well, the last time he was here, yes, he did get arrested.
Wait. Here? What do you mean here?
As in Clearwater.
Anywhere in Florida.
Why? Is he from here?
No.
Got some chick knocked up, I think.
No. I know.
Can you share?
Yeah, because it's a friend of mine. But I'm not gonna
all right. I don't want to know.
I'll just say it has to do with some child support.
Craig called this guy a chick magnet. No?
Mark Tureen?
He's this tall.
Yeah. I saw him.
I stayed at his house.
Do you remember what I don't remember what it was called.
North Hollywood.
Killian's. It was on 8th. They built it fresh, and it was this beautiful
The
place.
reboot? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it was built specifically to have shows. There was a lot of wood in there. I saw Cheap Trick there. I saw Bullet Boys. I saw Dee Snider solo there, and we saw Bullet Boys there. I think it was a free show, and I got to tell you, they beat some ass. I think it was just him and 3 dudes. It wasn't the originals. It wasn't Jimmy Danda, McSweeta.
No, Mark, another incredibly talented guy, but just lost his voice. Which brings me to, and this is a point that I bring up to a lot of people. Is this the only Bullet Boys they have on here?
Oh, dude, you can't find. It's really hard to find the original.
You're burying this band here. Uh-oh. So, here's the argument that I brought up for this band. This first record, Mark screams his ass off. Lays some of the most amazing vocals that for rock that had ever been recorded. So here's my argument in question to you. So now, as we're listening to him butcher this classic song, if you're given the option to go in and cut your first record, and you got a song like Smooth Up In You. Do you go all out? Do you go balls out? Do you try and lay that vocal for the next whatever of your career that you've got to live up to? Because look, Plant can't do it. There's not many people that can. Sebastian now is struggling with singing all that stuff off or whatever. Do you hold back, or do you try to lift the paint off the walls?
Balls out, bro.
Oh, yeah.
So for the rest
Leave
of
it
your
all out.
career, 10 years in, when you can't hit any of that, everybody says that you sound like crap.
You know what? You hit it. Let me hear you do it.
What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. That would be my response. I can do it. Here's my album. Proves I can. I went balls out. It's an NFL player. Does he take his first 3 years easy so he can have longevity? He won't have a career.
It's all about what have you done for me lately, right?
Well, that's American society.
I think it's an interesting argument to make of how high do you set the bar.
This is my favorite song.
F sharp 9.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
This one is cool. My favorite's still Hard as a Rock. I always think of it from the movie Beer Fest. When they first decide they're going to enter the drinking competition, they put this on.
No surprise. I've never seen it.
God.
Never seen that
Your
movie.
topical meter is like stuck somewhere between the Flintstones and the Hoover administration. The fuck, yo?
I don't know. Are you talking vacuums? I don't know who either, bro.
I think that was a president.
Might have been. But this album was just absolutely incredible. You know, starts out, this reboot here.
Oh, hell
This
yeah.
is awesome.
Love of Money. Forget the original. This is the shit.
And the bass sound on this. I mean, you play bass, I play bass. Just incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And the guys
Gets right out there. Yeah.
It drives it, man. Incredible. Your favorite, Hard as a Rock. I mean, just driving.
No subtlety on this. I just love it, man. It just comes right out. I got a baby. She likes to sweat. She likes it real hard. She likes it real wet. Again, fuck with the literary analysis. Just get to the meat of it. No pun intended. God, man.
And I remember playing this at the house and just driving the parents crazy.
Oh, no. Okay.
Signing them.
Okay.
I mean, even Mark had that big blonde name.
THC Groove, yeah.
This song blew out the stereo system in Tommy Lee's Lamborghini.
Really? Great song.
They had an early version of it or whatever, and he had all the subs in there or whatever, and that low end of it or whatever. Before the song even began, it blew out his sub.
Dude, we were just talking about the bass drive. I don't know if you were catching a beer, but the bass sound on all their stuff is just awesome. This is a great choice, man. This is a great number 2.
But basically, critics were saying at this point, so Mark had a few vocal surgeries in his career, and he had to have vocal surgery after the first record, hence my whole thing.
I did not know that. That's why there was such a huge drop-off.
Right. So they took a long time to get this record together, and, it wasn't really... Have you ever heard Zaza, the third record? Like, there's some good stuff on there.
It's
Nobody
almost
knows it.
experimental.
See if Laughing with the Dead's on there.
I can barely see as it is. Elefante, Bang Your Head.
That's new.
When did Zaza come out?
That's it.
Zaza?
Yeah, that's the record, yeah. Laughing with the Dead on there?
I own this album. I didn't care for this one.
Well, it was
I didn't at
kinda
the
out
time
there.
either. Yeah, because I was like expecting
And they even
more
opened with it.
THC
There's a
Groove.
ballad on there called Mine. that it's him trying to beat Steve Perry. So this was the first single. I can even remember listening to this on 98 Rock, and they did like the smash it or trash it type whatever.
I trash it right away.
Austin Keys was on there. He was like, I don't know what happened to this band.
Oh my God.
What happened to Austin Keys? Sorry.
He's in South Florida. He cuts like IDs now and stuff.
He does what?
He's in South Florida. He cuts like IDs and stuff.
Cuts IDs?
Like, you know.
Promos.
Yeah.
So he's a voiceover artist. This nowhere near has the same feel.
I don't hate it, though.
You just have to disengage yourself from the idea that it's a Bullet Boys.
Right.
Play the chorus. Get to the chorus, though, and see what you think.
Could be anybody.
All right, so play 30 seconds of Mine if it's on there. So they tried to get him to do a whole Steve Perry thing. This is his best Steve Perry.
You mean they drove him
So
to
mind
do
you,
this?
this is 93. I mean, all that stuff is done. You know, they're trying to, they owe Warner Brothers another record. You know, they went in. He said that, you know, every day the console was like Fleetwood Mac of like, you know, mount a blow on the console and record this record.
And you said you stayed at his house, so you know this guy.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, I know. What the fuck is this? What is this?
It's nice singing. I'm trying to do Perry.
This makes me want to die.
I'm starting.
It's
But
like,
you got to hear him hit the high notes with it because it's him totally going for it.
I'm starting to like Shark Island and Dad.
yeah, motherfucker. Why did I even say that?
So we're gonna get into something that's
All right.
some semblance of good.
But you don't hear him trying to go for Perry? That's the only thing I was trying to point out.
I just want to know
Sounds more like Linda Perry.
who stood in the studio and squeezed his balls at that moment.
Well, with all the blow he did, I'm
Chick,
sure
the
his
chick
balls
that gets him arrested every time he comes to Clearwater. That's it.
Oh, here is this it?
No?
No, not a fan.
Oh man.
I didn't say I liked it. I just said... You don't see him going for Perry, though?
He sounds like that when the cats fight in the alley behind my house, man. He's like,
I mean, I can see what you're saying, but he
See,
doesn't
mind
have
you,
that voice.
he's already having difficulty at this point screaming and doing whatever. So, you know, he's trying to alter the way he sings and whatnot.
I don't think he looks back on this with great fondness.
Oh, no, yeah.
You know, I had no
And
idea.
if
he
you
played
see them
guitar.
live, they won't play anything.
I had no idea he played guitar.
Yeah.
I was watching some
Well,
YouTube.
All right, you want to hear some real crazy knowledge?
Wait, it's not plugged in?
He was one of the original guitar players in Rat.
Really?
Wow, whoa, what the hell?
Really?
It's true.
That's pretty interesting shit.
Mark's a good.
Damn, that's even more obscure than Tracy Guns being one of the
Roses.
originals of Guns.
So let's put this to a wrap. Let's hit our number ones. I just thought this song was insane when it came out. As cheesy as it is, they got to be the best hair band out there. And I just absolutely love Poison. And the only reason they're my number one is because I don't consider Kiss hair band. So
No, not at all.
I don't think Jay saying Bobby Doll played two strings his entire career.
Poison, you know, it's funny. I've hit a thing in the last few years that I think Poison is a wretched band. I think Poison is complete garbage. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I get
it. I get the catchiness. I get the whatever. When I was a kid, I saw them a million times.
Every
Loved
time they were
Poison.
here.
Loved Poison. Had a poster of them on my wall.
You're
But I don't know if it's, you know, the hey kids get off my lawn moment or whatever. I cannot listen to Poison anymore.
I think it's the hey kids get off my lawn moment.
Yeah, you turned into Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino, man. Wow.
I just think even listening to your music and it's the hey kids get off my lawn moment. I mean, you got to appreciate it for what it is and just accept it. And in the 80s, This was it, man. How many shows did you see?
A bunch. I think I saw like every tour.
I think so too, and you don't miss it. And
I got to tell you, what surprises me that they became what they did and got as big as they did was because at this time in the 80s, the biggest bands of the hair metal scene.
Oh, sorry.
Shit, this fucking guy, I tell you. That's what happens when you drink Coors Light. You become a cretin.
Wait. I use Coors Light to chase my Jack Daniels. Get off me.
All right, I'll forgive you. Poison making it surprised me. And you tell me if I'm wrong, because you're more in this bit of things. They were not on a major label. They were on Enigma Records. Okay, just like Stryper.
Well,
that was not a major label.
That was a subsidiary of Capitol, so I mean they weren't
not initially.
completely out in the woods.
They were a straight up indie that had some really fucking weird, obscure shit like TSOL from the jump. When that came out, I worked in a record bar, so we got all that stuff because at that time in the mid '80s, the individual store managers were allowed to do their own purchasing. It wasn't corporatized like it became years later, and like this came out, and my boss sometimes would listen to me because I'd see the video or I'd read magazines or whatever. I was a dork for this stuff like you never knew, and he would order it sometimes and it would move. I can remember working in a record store in '87, the day that two of my all-time favorite albums came out. One was Appetite for Destruction. The other was the self-titled Faster Pussycat. And I got to tell you, when we played that shit in the store, more people bought the Faster Pussycat right off the jump. Guns wasn't happening. And I know my boss used to say, if you play it, there better be a copy. Because if I catch you playing something that somebody says, hey, I like this, and we don't have it, like, I'm gonna jam my foot in your ass sideways and spin it 360 degrees. And we always made sure to have some of that and play it. People bought the fuck out of it. But that was major label stuff. All that stuff that was on Enigma, that was a pain in the ass to get. They did link up with Capitol, but it was after that. I still have that cassette of Soldiers Under Command at home.
I saw Poison open for Quiet Riot. This is when Cry Tough was out.
Ooh.
So pre-Tuck Dirty. So people barely knew who these guys were. Blew Quiet Riot off the stage. And, I could tell that they were going to be something, whatever. But
Where is that at?
Bayfront, but not the arena, the theater.
Right. That's where I saw Stryper for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was.
I fell asleep at a Quiet Riot concert. That would be one of my all-time proudest accomplishments.
I fell asleep at a Metallica show.
But were you stoned as shit?
No.
Okay,
no.
I was.
Coors Light and Oreos. Oh, perfect combination.
I envy you. No, I saw Quiet Riot in Fort Pierce before I moved here when they came out with the second album, Condition Critical. And I liked it, but we got completely wiped out because the opening act was Wasp. And nobody knew who they were. And I did because, again, I was a dork, and my friends all knew because, well, I knew, so they didn't have a choice. And so we were up front for Wasp, and they were just nasty and had something to prove. And I remember Blackie pours all the blood on his shirt, and my friend holds it. He bought a Wasp jersey. Remember the white with the black sleeve? He holds up, and Blackie says, let me have it. My friend Chris looks at him and says, no, fuck you. You won't give it back. And he says, yeah, I will. So he takes it and just rubbed it all over and gave it back to him. My friend never washed that shirt. It's probably still in his drawer now, and he's damn near 50 years old. But in between Quiet Riot and Wasp, well, not gonna lie, we got high and went up to the balcony, and I made it through their opening song. They did Sign of the Times, first song off Conditional Critical. And that was it. I fell asleep. Done. Bye. Night. Put me in a Snuggie. All that shit. That's my memory of Quiet.
Volvemos al Voodoo Chef Podcast.
All my friends know the low rider. The low rider.
So what's your number one, Ed? If I'm afraid.
Okay, let me preface it by this.
You're
Okay,
afraid?
let me preface
Dude,
it.
I'm not going to know who the hell
I'm
they
going to
are.
preface it by saying this.
They're going to be
okay.
some band from New Guinea.
No.
They put out a demo tape that made it to the black market. That,
Another one that never got that big.
On the deep
But
web.
I'm going to preface it by saying this. Okay, I don't include Motley Crue and Poison because those were the two, like, they were the top of the mountain. Everything and anything else was second to them. Okay, I don't even include them in my top three because they're that high up. Okay, they're not even on the planet. Okay, those guys are hovering out in space and shit like moon rocks. Okay, my number one was a band that had an American lead singer and three dudes from Norway called TNT. Loved TNT
that dude just left the band. You see that?
for about the third time. Yeah, which my guess is he probably can't. All those guys, they're in their mid-50s. They've long since surrendered the high end of their voice. That's just normal.
Tony gets those things.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
maybe not like that. but-
I have a friend who plays in a band over on the East Coast that's met him, said he's a fantastic guy.
Tony actually sent me a message on his Instagram or whatever. And
Cool.
yeah,
Seems
So
to be a
he likes this
fantastic guy. But I always loved them. The first two albums they came out with here, Knights of the New Thunder and Tell No Tales,
stuff. I saw them.
were just-
on
they
that
blew
first
my
tour
mind.
with Loudness and
Loudness
Striper.
and Striper. I saw them in West Palm with that. Yep.
I
They
did
opened.
see that show.
You did see that?
I did.
And you remember nothing, do you?
No, I had cheap ass seats way in the back, and Chemo had front row seats, and this was way back when
That gets it.
you know, they didn't really check shit. So, and it was a Striper show. So between the acts, I walked down to see Chemo in the front row, and the lights went out, and I just happened to stay there, and it was what it was. So, what does TNT sing, man?
Seven Seas was big.
Well, the biggest single was 10,000
Everyone-
10,000 Lovers in One.
That one and Everyone's a Star. Guitar player Ronnie Latecro is just absolutely fantastic. Absolute guitar god. Absolutely loved him. I remember when they opened for Loudness and Striper, I don't think anybody knew a whole lot by them.
Still don't.
And the place went nuts. And I happened to stay in my seats because we saw them in the old West Palm Beach Auditorium, which is just a big circle. And I'd been to enough shows there and had learned, don't be on the floor. Go where the risers go up in the back. You can get a good sight line. You don't have anybody stand in front of you. And you don't have stinky, sweaty teenage metalheads that all smell like corpses in front of you. And my friends left in between TNT and Loudness. And they're like, dude, TNT's out there just signing autographs. They came right off stage, went out there. I don't think they took a shower, nothing. They're still in their stage outfits. And he said they were the nicest, coolest guys. And he got his ticket signed by Ronnie Latecro. So I was like, oh! And I go running out there. They're gone.
Fangirl.
Oh, I fangirled out, and then I got Melvined. They were gone by then. I was just so crestfallen. But his range just, I loved him. This guy would hit some highs.
No idea who this is.
He was in Skid Row for about a second.
He was. It was like 3 weeks recently. That went well.
Do you know there's a 10,000 Lovers Part 2?
Wouldn't that be
Would that be
20,000?
20,000? Yeah. Holy shit. AKA
We're good at math,
Gene
too.
Simmons circa 1979.
Or wait, would that be 10,000 Lovers or 10,002 Lovers? Do you know what I mean?
I have no
Oh,
idea.
yeah, 10,002. Yeah.
Or 10,001.
But
yeah,
it-
one of those
but
last
it's-
two gave him chlamydia and he stopped.
But it's not by them. It's by Yo 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 Acapulco.
Suddenly I have to pee.
I have to play it.
It's not the same thing.
Oh, of course it's not.
Oh.
The fuck is this? Please look this up. There's some like. Is this
Like
guy?
video game music.
Is this guy from Fort Pierce?
This is.
Look at this guy.
Whatever you said about Pretty Boy Floyd or Poison, that shit is Beethoven compared to
She
this.
came, she came. The post-organic summer rain. It's never quite as good as this. The Star Trek
Yeah, on that note, Jay, what's your number one, man?
So, try the shrimp cocktail and
Sexy me, I said to you.
What's your number one, Jay?
This is hard. Again, because I've already ruled out a bunch of bands.
Right, but it's what it is to you, and that's
Well, I'll go with number one, and it's been brought up here. You already played the song of it, but I'll go Pussycat.
hey, we were just playing them, and
Well, what I would like for you to play from them is they've done modern stuff that's actually really good.
See, I haven't heard any of it.
See if Power of the Glory Hole's on there.
Anything but this. This has
It's
to
really
go.
good.
Oh my god.
this is a great song. What are you talking about? So what makes Faster Pussycat number one in your mind?
Well, if we're talking big hair, they had a great look. They were slightly unique. Tammy's voice is, not your.
He sounded like a
average
pussycat,
voice.
dude. That's why I loved it.
I was never a fan.
And they had a little bit of the Stones thrown in there to kind of, mix it up. I don't know. Pussycat's a cool band.
Again, not so much a fan. Power of the Glory Hole, not on here.
And again, another problem with them was that second record just didn't get pushed the right way. Wrong single.
But that to me was their best album.
Yeah.
Wake Me When It's Over.
Yeah.
You got Poison
Yeah,
Ivy.
Play,
you had House of
When
Pain.
There's a Whip, There's a Way. That's got to be on there.
House of Pain was the top 40 song. How do you
Right.
not know this shit?
I know House of Pain.
Okay.
Now this is good.
This is great, man.
And Pussycat's still great live.
Are they still out there?
Oh, yeah.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
I'll be damned.
You know,
Last time I saw a shot of Tammy, though, he looked real goth looking. Like he had like this
He's
Hitler
gone for the
cap and
whole
shit.
Marilyn Manson thing for
Okay.
like the
All
last
right.
15 years.
Really? Hope he didn't get his leg broke like Marilyn just did.
we're talking about hair bands and just that whole genre. Somebody that we mentioned, but we didn't really didn't put in any of our lists that I really, really, really love. I really love LA Guns. I don't know how you guys feel about them. I just
Love him.
I was okay with him. I never loved
You
Phil,
just saw him,
Phil
did you?
Lewis's voice.
No, I didn't go because our dumbass mutual acquaintance told us it was that Friday, and it turned out it was the following Friday because he can't.
I would have been able to go.
See, by then, dude, you know how it is on Friday. You work all week. You don't want to go back out.
Hello?
What did we say?
They're playing Atlanta in February, so maybe they're coming back through here.
If they're coming back through, Angelina really
Go.
wants to go.
Well, Tracy's back now.
Phil
so
and
it's-
Tracy.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Peanut butter and jelly, man. Right back together.
What's your favorite LA Gun song?
Oh, no contest. Sleazy Come, Easy Go. Love that fucking song.
Jay,
On Cocked and Loaded.
this is your favorite one?
Yeah.
I really, really, really like Kiss Your Love Goodbye.
That's a
Whatever.
fantastic one, too.
I don't know why I like it. Just do.
None of y'all chose a Ballad of Jane. That's okay.
We used to play this. Do you remember
I do.
that? Craig wanted us to play this.
I really, really, really like LA Guns.
This is a re-recorded version, I can tell.
It is. And that's disgusting that you both are like that, but he's not doing it like he should.
It's much better than the Bullet Boys version.
Oh, man, they did it.
So I want to ask Jay, because, this is the Voodoo Chef podcast, and we're talking all about music, and that's okay, because, we do party like rock stars, but we got to talk food, man. You're a huge, huge foodie.
Yeah.
When you were in town for the Voodoo Chef VIP Bash,
Yeah.
that was a great day.
Was.
A lot of good food there. But you introduced me to two things that day. One, we were just talking about again today, the salted caramel whiskey.
Right.
That shit's phenomenal.
Yeah. Old Smoky Mountain, basically known for their moonshine, bought out this other company that was actually called Davy Crockett, and they took on their whiskeys and this and that. But they did these flavored whiskeys. But the company's problem is they want to be Baskin Robbins, and instead of getting the basic principle of business of do one thing right,
It's got to be your bread and butter. 42 dive. You
Yeah.
got to
And
have
then
that one.
build off of that, and
Right.
then you can go. But yeah, you've tried it. I mean,
Phenomenal.
there's been no one that I've given it to. And when you look at Fireball, at the powerhouse that is in every bar across this country.
Hate it, by the way.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I've had it. It's an easy shot. It's a shot that everybody in the group can all order it and nobody winces and whatever.
It's Goldschlager.
Yeah. But
The
my point
reboot.
is, this could easily overtake it if it had the right push.
Absolutely, and I'm not a fan. I like my coffee to taste like coffee. I don't like flavored coffees. I like my whiskey to taste like Jack Daniels. I don't mix flavors. I don't like, the gimmicky stuff. But the salted caramel whiskey was fucking good. And for me
it's
to
a great
say
product. And like I said, it's one of those things to where, like, if you had a group of 10 people, and be it guys, girls, or whatever, you could all order that, and no one would feel like either they were drinking something too heavy or that they were drinking something too girly.
Right. I mean, it fits that mainstream. It's the salted caramel latte. I mean, it's fucking everywhere. Why would that not work?
Yeah.
And the struggle is, you're saying they want to
Well,
focus on the bigger picture
yeah,
rather than...
and I've talked with the company. We talked about some various things that they were going to set up, and I was going to be able to spearhead, and they just don't. The company does not have their stuff together.
And you're a huge foodie,
Yeah.
and that's why you're so excited about it. Something else you introduced me to, I've done a lot of smoked salts. We actually have had ghost pepper salts. We've talked about smoked salts. But you brought me a smoked sugar that was just out of this world. Where'd you pick that up?
I was in Edinburgh, Scotland this summer, and
Whoa.
I had heard about this place that did shortbread, and it's one of the only two places that do a natural form of shortbread in Scotland still. And I'm a huge fan of shortbread and this and that. And dude, I'm telling you, those cookies, like,
Off the chart?
game changer. Like, it's it. And so when I was there, they had this product or whatever. But see, they weren't looking to necessarily put it into the bar business or anything like that. They were looking to basically bake with it and do
Right.
it. Their ideas was to do a creme brulee and do that type of deal. But yeah, I mean, when you add, sure, you can do all those things with it, but when you add the bar industry and what you can do of rimming glasses and whatnot, I mean, it opens up a whole nother thing.
Just when you open the bag, because you brought it to me in a Ziploc bag, and just you open the bag and the smell of smoke was just smack you in the face. And then you taste it, and when you we all know that flavor is that match of aroma and taste. It's just phenomenal. It's a great product, and we're actually thinking about creating something in the Voodoo line to emulate that
I think it would work.
because it was that good. I mean,
It's going to be a stupid question, but it's going to float around in my head like
well,
long
let it
haze.
fall out, man.
How do you smoke sugar? I mean, is it like cold smoke? Because if you expose it to heat, it's just going to turn into goo.
It's got to be a cold smoke, and
Okay.
but the easy answer is, I call my chemist and I say, hey, can we smoke sugar? And he goes, yeah, and we get it done.
The granules were large.
Right? It was like
Oh,
it
okay.
was like a
rock.
sugar in
Yeah.
the raw.
Okay.
It was like sugar in the raw.
Gotcha.
And yeah, you just cold smoke it. You control the temp, and you just blow it up, man. And we're actually meeting on Monday to talk about smoking sugar. So I'm hoping that comes out to be amazing as
And you should pitch the salt as well, because if you can do the one, you can do the other. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. We've played around with the salt, but we've done Ghost and we've talked about smoke. We're getting ready to work on both of those. We have, you and I are talking about this. We have a couple products that have to come out before that because they're already in the queue. We've got the bacon maple habanero hot sauce
wow.
coming out, Deja Voodoo 2017. That'll be out in about 2 weeks. We're actually just waiting on the bottles
Wow.
to ship. The bottles are being engraved. It's limited edition. There's only 200 bottles that we make. We're actually doing 2018 right now as well because we make the habanero extract and we make it so that it's clear. And that's what makes
So
it
similar
super
to the
cool.
guava.
Similar to the guava, Deja Voodoo 2016, completely sold out. We actually used the remaining bottles last night at the Epicurean event, and we served our guava habanero margarita. And let me tell you, those bottles have sat so long that those flavors were so intense when we put it in that margarita. I drank 3.
Really?
I drank 3. I mean, normally I'm cooking and doing the demos.
And see what I'm saying? You take that guava, right?
Right.
And you make that margarita, and then you rim it with either
smoked salt.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly where my brain is, except I would want to do something a little more. I want to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So, but we've got the bacon maple coming out. Behind that, Deja Voodoo 2018 is already in the works. It's going to be a strawberry habanero that we're gonna release in March around the Strawberry Festival and Gasparilla and all that fun stuff. And we got another Caribbean product coming out to fall in line with those Caribbean sauces. And we're actually working on a Japanese line. So we're going to throw the sugars and the salts in that blend and see what we can come up with and get those out. But I think it's amazing that you get to travel the world. Not just, I mean,
Yeah.
you talk food, you know, you call me up and goes, dude, you need a Bama sauce. Dude, you need this. We wrote Bama Q because of you. I mean, we voodoofied it, and which I know you probably weren't a fan of because you had that original Bama Q and it like put you over the top, but we can't just do that. We have to voodooify everything. And so, you know, we threw some horseradish in there to kind of twist it up.
No, I thought that was good.
And but we created that and rushed that out because of you. We had it in the works and we talked about it for a long time. And then at Voodoo Bash, you're like, dude, you need a Bama sauce. I'm like, it's funny. We've been talking about it. And when you said it, we fucking just put it on the fast track. And,
Cool.
And we're actually looking at these sugars because of you. So I'm curious.
I'd like to think I have my finger on the pulse of food in America.
Well, I think beyond America, and I want to go outside of America because you've traveled to all these places. Yeah. I got to think when you went to, you know, Africa and the bases that you kind of stayed on the bases, and we're kind of trying to stay
we got
safe.
into some of the cuisine there.
I want to know what the coolest thing you ate on your travels was, and where was it?
Do you want to know?
I want you to answer in relationship to food.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I mean, you know, each different place has a different thing. I mean, in Africa, look, we ate on the base a ton. We did go out a bit. They do kind of like a naan bread there. It's similar to naan bread with a bunch of different sauces and whatever, chutneys and whatnot. But I mean, that was a crapshoot. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you dip it into the one, and it was great. You dip it into the one, and it was like the worst thing you've ever had. Yeah.
I hate when people ask me to taste stuff.
Yeah.
And they do it all the time, and I got to be nice, and I got to smile. And, you know, the worst is in the high schools. My buddy actually judges the high school competitions, and I'm like, how'd it go this year? And he goes, did you know there was such a thing as chicken sushi? And I'm like, what? Yeah, and he goes, yeah, these motherfuckers are serving me raw chicken all goddamn day.
Oh, man.
I'm like, and you ate it? He goes, thank God I had my penicillin shot before I came. Dude. So I hate when people ask me to taste stuff.
Right.
And you're out there doing it on your own accord all over the world.
Sure.
So coolest thing you ate and where?
I mean, nothing's coming to mind. You know, well, let's be honest. I was in Scotland and England this summer, and you know, Scotland. Well, the UK is not known for fine cuisine. You know what I mean? It's pub food.
It's my favorite.
It's you know, stuff that goes well with, you know, booze of, you know, drinking heavily and
favorite?
Eating something to soak it up to. So I mean,
so what'd you eat?
Well, my point. I went to the it's the third. All right, hold on. It is the oldest fish and chips place in the world, in London.
Okay.
The first two burnt down in the Great Fire in like 1600 or whatever.
All right, so the oldest fish and chips,
Yeah.
was it good?
Yeah.
What made it amazing?
I mean, was it the best fish and chips I had? No.
So it was the history and
good.
knowing the nostalgia and knowing what happened.
Well, that's why I went there. Do you know what I mean? Would I go back to there? Probably not. I'd find another place. And let's be honest. I mean, you haven't been to London, no?
No.
You can find fish and chips on
flying.
every damn
Every
corner.
corner, yeah.
So you said it wasn't the best fish and chips you've had. Where was that?
Best fish and chips.
Long John Silver's right down the road in Hillsborough Avenue.
Captain D's.
I remember that night. It was after the show in Clearwater, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There was a place that we had in London that was like just a pub. And I mean, it was like old style to where they even wrapped it in like newspaper and brought it to you.
But it was just some rando?
The whole fish. Oh, yeah.
And that's the best, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just walk in with no expectations, and then you're blown out of the water.
Mm-hmm. I've been into like weird things lately. You know what poutine is? Yeah.
I served it last night.
Yeah.
I mean, I seek that out. I've been on a whole pizza kick lately of finding like really good, pizza.
So have you had pizza here in Tampa? I had pizza last night.
Yeah.
It's in the refrigerator. If you
Yeah.
want a slice, dude. My favorite. I mean, 1:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Good place, yeah.
It's open to 4 in the morning. It's over in Soho, and it's open to 4 because the club's closed at 3. And whenever I'm working at the Epicurean, I stop in, and the line is out the door.
Really?
And I wait for Julian, who I got to assume he owns the place. I don't know. He's always running the register. We make eye contact, and I just hold my arms up, and I mouth what I want on my pizza. And by the time I get up to the front and pay, my pizza's done. Last night, we went on, I don't know, Instagram Live or some stupid shit. I suck at social media. And the only comment that came across was my daughter going, "Hey, Pop, are you bringing pizza home tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what kind do you want?" And so I brought home a white pizza, and New York at 303 South Howard is just my favorite in town.
I have to tell you, and you're going to laugh at this, Epcot.
You've told me this, and I can't get reservations every time we go.
Yeah, you can get in. There's no way.
I'm going to drop your name
You'll
next
wait
time.
15 minutes. So Epcot has this place
I won't wait 15 minutes, just so you know.
They bring the flour over from Italy. They bring the water over from Italy. The sauce, everything comes together. They make a margarita pizza that to me is just out of this world.
You've told me that.
It's a $28 pizza.
Oh,
Right.
better knock
That's
your socks
another
off.
problem I have.
And I was at Disneyland this summer.
And it's a 10-inch.
They have a sister restaurant there that does the same thing in the snap.
And is it the same?
Yeah. But my son has now become a pizza connoisseur, and so we get to New York City too, and so we've been to Joe's there, which to me is the best pizza.
Joe's Pizza.
New York City.
Joe's Rules, right there off the
amazing.
village, man. Right around that corner.
So how old's your son now?
11.
11?
So if you ask him, he's still putting Epcot 1, but he'll put Joe's at 2.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I just...
And we haven't even opened up. I mean, deep dish to New York style to, you know what I mean? See, we play Chicago a ton. The deep dish doesn't do it for me.
Doesn't do it for
the
me
center
either.
is always soggy and
Doesn't accept the crust.
I love
sucks.
Cappy's here in town, man.
Cappy's is
Theirs-
great, but
theirs
it's
is
Tampa tradition.
Theirs is to me is a spin on it. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because their crust is more of like a cornmeal kind of thing, and that's not what's doing when you go into Chicago.
right.
Theirs is like the adaptation, and I do like it.
I like Cappy's, but I'm not a fan of Chicago za, so...
Yeah,
I'm
I
with
see.
you.
I'm not real big on the huge tomato chunks. I get in brawls with my wife over this. I find them.
But none of you guys find
too
that
bitter.
the center of that is like mush?
No, mine's not bad, because I'll tell you one thing that Cappy's does, that if you order that like I do, because I'm a fat fuck, I get the large
You gotta
Chicago
get the large.
style with pepperoni, meatballs, and mushrooms. I'm probably going to have to back off those mushrooms because they shed too much water. But when you get home, that pizza is not cut. That's your problem. You know,
right.
that's your
Have you
problem.
been to Cappy's? It's pretty good.
That's your
But it's
problem,
Tampa.
nephew. You have got to cut it yourself, because you know what happens if they cut it. All that
It
shit,
all just seeps and
it's
shit.
just it runs toward the middle like a big vortex, and the sauce goes somewhere in
But
Wyoming.
The fucking Chicago pizza, it's too pastry-esque, the
Right.
crust. And I don't like that. I like that thin New York, solid crust, and I want to be able, when I fold it in half, I want to hear the snap. I want to hear it
I like
crack.
them all, man. I like a good New York style. I like
Oh,
a Chicago
it-
style. I even like that damn St. Louis style, which is cracker thin. And
Why gotta be cracker?
Why is it gotta be cracker? Because we're talking about saltines, not the rednecks in Fort Pierce. Jesus Christmas, man. This is why I
But,
shouldn't even talk. That's some good shit there.
There's no such thing as a bad pizza. I'll eat any pizza, but
Oh,
if
there's
I-
some bad ones. That Mexican pizza I used to serve at school, I had a few bites of that. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And then all of a sudden, my little
Tostado, wasn't it?
Yeah, my radar went off. It's like, boop,
That
boop,
orange
boop.
color.
Yeah, it's cumin. And there was cheddar cheese on it. Cheddar cheese doesn't belong on a pizza. That instantly disqualifies a place like Pizza Hut because there's little flecks of it in there.
My son is
Cheap
a pizza
bastards.
snob.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He will not eat
Good
any
taste.
of that chain crap.
No?
Good for him.
I won't either, but
I'll eat any type of pizza. I don't
Yeah.
care. Oh, yeah. Doesn't matter.
Oh, I'll debase myself for one of those
But do you
cheap-ass
remember-
Little Caesars.
But do you
or
remember the
little
time when
Hungry
Pizza Hut
Howie's.
was good? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
before I worked
remember
there.
when it wasn't all about
94.
being a $5 pizza, that the ingredients and what they put in there? I mean, remember when you'd go there and they had the jukebox and they had the sit-down video game? that you
Yeah.
play and
I worked
whatever?
there at that time. There was one in North Tampa,
I
and
mean, now, mind you, the pizza was much more expensive than what it is now,
But-
but it was also much better.
But did it change, or did just more options become available?
No, I think they had to get cheaper.
They had to get cheap. Yeah,
Cheaper
both.
to be able to compete with everybody else. And they didn't see themselves as a restaurant anymore. They saw themselves as delivery and
I'm going to tell you what their problem was. When I worked there, they still made the dough for the thin and the hand toss. Now, the pan was shipped frozen. You threw that in a pan that was layered with oil. They threw it in a 100-degree proofer for an hour, and then they threw it in the walk-in after that. Now, everything is shipped as a frozen disc. The sauce is,
Out of a
what do you
bag.
call it? It's concentrated. We used to call it the Martian colostomy bag because you had to mix it in a bucket with super hot water and then stir it with a giant whisk. And I remember clearly, every time I did it, my boss would tell me to knock it off because I'd sit there with that whisk and stir it and go, ugh, take it. You like that? and so they quit giving me what they call side work because everything was a fucking joke to me. It never failed. The cheese is shipped in bags, same thing. There's not one fresh topping there, not one tomato, not
Sure.
one onion, not one pepper. Everything is in a vacuum-packed bag, and they cut it open.
Not
I
surprising.
have two things with
Kill
that. Fast food changed about 5-10 years ago, and it made everything is trying to be as close as it can to be to $5, and that's pizza. That's everything.
That's the economy.
And so, Chick-fil-A is not like that. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Yaya's isn't like that, which whatever. There's some people that are willing to curb on that, but pizza is big time into that. Second thing, did you know that I worked at Hungry Howie's when I was in like high school?
No.
Oh,
I have
my.
horror stories, like horror stories.
Dude, we do kitchen
About
bitching all the time, man.
Food,
Give it
food
up.
preparation. Like, no, these will be like you.
I
want to
hear. I want to
You will
know.
I'm
never
pretty
eat
sure it's
Hungry
not the
Howie's.
success-
I don't eat
surprises.
Hungry Howie's as it is, so
Yeah,
I
yeah, so
want
you're
to
not
know.
Said you'd eat any pizza.
Yeah, you're not killing the
But
customer.
I would. If there was Hungry Howie's in my house, I would go in and have a slice, and I'd be like, yeah, it sucked, but I'll have another slice.
So all of this came from a friend who allegedly said that this went on at a pizza establishment named Frungry Frowie's.
You sound like Johnny B now. I'm not allowed to talk about my ex-wife, but I'm allowed to
So-
talk about Melissa.
All right, you know how it works.
All right, so-
you've
so-
got teenagers working at a food establishment.
Okay, let me
God.
preface.
Piss one of them off. What's going to happen?
Yeah, but let's wait here.
You never
because
mess with people in the food industry.
You
know
don't.
that.
You've
Oh,
seen
I
the
did
movie,
bad things to Pizza Hut pizza. We can't even mention.
You've seen the
Oh, you
movie
don't know.
Waiting, and
One, I
Waiting
never did
Waiting
any of
is a
this.
parody. Waiting's a parody starring Dane Cook. It is what it is. You take
Ryan
it for
Reynolds.
what it's worth. Dane Cook's in there too. Right, Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
in?
Reynolds is the
Oh,
main
that's
guy.
right.
That's right.
But when we talk about
Who's the female?
The
Was
kid-
that Aniston?
Anna Faris.
Anna Faris? Yeah.
Yes.
We talk about. Let me see if you know what I see. What I did here. We talk about kitchen bitching. We're talking about food. I do this every week. I've done it like 8 times today.
Yeah.
When we talk about kitchen bitching, we're talking in parody. We're talking tongue in cheek. We're not putting down any restaurant, and we're not saying any of it really happened. But hypothetically, Dave,
Yeah.
you used to work at Hungry Howie's, and you've heard stories.
True.
Tell me what you heard.
So, I worked on the food prep end of it. All right. So
But
let
you
me-
just heard stories.
Yeah. Let me tell you the story of like how my day would work. One, it didn't have air conditioning, so I'd come in there, and my job was to set up the dough for the pizzas or whatever. And we got the cheese in blocks, so we had a dough maker in the bottom of this machine, and in the top you have the grinder.
Big Hobart mixer, probably.
Yeah. Well,
Mix the dough in
Here's
the
the
bottom.
problem: the latch to do the cheese was broken.
Oh, it never fucking
So
seals,
you
bro.
had to hold this with all of your might, or this thing was going to come off and like take your head off. So you hated when cheese had to be made because this block is like, I don't know, think of a shoebox.
It's probably about a 12-pound print that you're talking about. And
So
just so
I'm-
you know, no
I mean-
restaurant that you work
Now,
in,
mind you, I'm
the
16.
shit never works.
I'm 140 pounds. You know what I mean?
Soaking wet.
I'm holding that latch and doing that thing. It was the worst. You make the cheese out of that or whatever. Now,
Give it up, man.
Yeah, don't hold back here, man.
Or was it the background music that,
I mean,
that
some
had
of
you on
the
hold
some
there?
of the stuff, you
Get
know.
distracted.
Again, you know, if you called in and ordered some pie and you know,
You can't even tell the story.
piss somebody off or whatever. I mean, yeah, you were going to get whatever. A lot of it was the most common was the oil that the anchovies sat in.
Oh.
If you were really awful, they would just take that tin out or whatever and then just drain it on.
They
I'm
drain
so
your-
sorry I didn't think of that when I worked
That
there.
is pretty
Then,
dick move right there.
I'd seen many a times. You're talking about sauce being made. Our sauce just came in, those giant cans.
Yeah.
You know, but there were a couple of things you had to add to it or whatever. but
Hypothetically.
they put it in a bucket, like trash can type whatever. And there was many times I saw it stirred with feet.
Dude, that's fucking Hypothetically,
Now
you saw it
I
stirred
would
with
need
feet.
I would need any pizza. Now the worst story I have, the worst.
Oh,
Now, I was not there.
Hypothetically,
Yeah.
the worst.
work of fiction.
Parody. Saturday Night Live. That's
So we made that dough in the big hopper thing or whatever, right? And so, you'd lump that thing onto the table there to cut it into the various sizes of pizza.
right.
Well, somebody had been in the process of making this big pile of
Oh,
dough
Jesus, don't tell me.
and set it on the table.
No, don't tell
And we
me.
had Pam there and whatever. Well, people would stop by on their Friday and Saturday night and say hello to whoever and whatever.
Do I want to know?
And do you want to know or what?
Inquiring
You asked me for the
minds
story.
do want to know.
I'm really afraid of what you're going to
I'll
tell me
say
right now.
I'm
that-
not. I'm curious.
Me, I generally, I'm attracted to only to females of the human species. This gentleman happened to be attracted to
To dough?
dough and manufactured a whole, used the Pam, and
So it was his apple pie watermelon is what, or apple
Sure.
pie or whatever.
American pie. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jason
American
Biggs.
pie and watermelon. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, bro.
there you go.
Oh my God.
So there was a certain glaze to those pizzas.
I'm so disappointed. I never thought of that. The worst I did, and if my buddy Vinny is listening to it, you'll
Your
remember
buddy
this.
Vinny in New York?
That's right. Vinny remembers when he had a customer at Pizza, hated this fucking guy.
Allegedly.
Allegedly hated this guy, whose name was allegedly, called him Smiley because he never smiled. He's a big fat fuck that used to come in every Saturday. And Pizza Hut did buffet even on the
That was
weekends.
his name, Big Fat Fuck.
Yeah, BFF. It's a new term for him. So BFF came in, and he demanded they bring out a barbecue pizza, which wasn't necessarily the way things rolled. It was you got whatever's in the rotation. But just to keep his mouth shut, they'd bring it out. And, of course, he didn't share it. BFF would just grab like 2 or 3 small plates, put the whole thing on it, and go back to his table. And Vinny used to say, I hate that fucking guy, hate that fucking guy, hate that fucking guy, can't stand him. And he always sat with Vinny because nobody else wanted him.
So he hated him.
Really didn't like him. And I remember my evil mind thought, okay, one of these days I'm going to fuck with his pizza. Because on Saturdays, there really was nobody working. One manager, one driver, one waiter, one cook. That's it, okay? I was the driver. So one day, either before work or the day before, I stopped at, it was either Eckerd's or Walgreens at that time. Shows how far back we're going. I bought a little bottle of mineral oil. Because mineral oil says right on the bottle, colorless, odorless, tasteless, and guaranteed to produce a bowel movement within 2 to 4 hours.
You're fucked up, Ed.
So I don't think Vinny, what's up, dude, didn't think I was going to do it. And sure enough, I put it in my pocket.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically, I brought it in, and I put it in my pocket, and sure enough, Smiley came in, and the pizza started coming out.
Ed, you've heard me on all the radio shows. You've heard me on Dom's
Yes.
show.
Yes.
Dom's favorite word, allegedly.
Allegedly. And allegedly, according to others, they said I poured the entire bottle on a certain barbecue pizza. Now, Vinny ran away because I think he had dreamed this would happen, but never realized, to me, it would allegedly be a reality. So we drizzled it all over there. I mean, this was straight up like Ina Garten shit right here, man. Except I wasn't a barefoot Contessa. I was the boot-wearing asshole. So pizza gets served.
Just remember, this is the head of my security. Don't fuck with me.
And Smiley allegedly ate the whole pizza as he normally did. And we didn't see him for about 6 months. And we wondered, what happened to Smiley?
Well, hold on.
The joke.
How do you not know that that wasn't just a regular reaction from eating that pizza anyway?
No, I think this guy. Yeah, I think this guy was long past that. He didn't. He ate everything on the buffet and didn't have an oil change. It didn't happen. So 6 months later, he comes back in. Allegedly, comes back in. Smiley is about as thin as this beer can I'm holding up. And of course, Vinny goes to him and says, "Hey, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?" He's like, "Oh, wow, man, last time I ate here, I got really sick." But he was back in, at which point Vinny leaves because he can't stifle his revelry and comes and tells me of this. So, okay, I'm going to keep that mineral oil in the back pocket for another time. But Pizza Hut was just a,
Dude, Ed, you're fucked up, bro.
I don't know about y'all. You worked in a restaurant. Yeah. I was a good kid till I worked in a restaurant. I was a good kid. I had to work in a restaurant to become a fucking criminal. That, I'm going to tell you right now, the worst shit I did in my life as far as drugs and theft occurred after I worked at a restaurant.
I believe too much into the food karma end of it.
Shit comes back, man.
I wouldn't.
Oh, my life is proof of that then.
People's food.
I don't fuck with people's food.
We only did it a couple times because I did feel evil, but the people I did it to, no, I felt no remorse for them because they were reprobates. They deserved their food to be messed with.
Tell us about sympathy, Ed.
Sympathy? Look in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. That's right.
Ed is...
Oh, my first day in a restaurant was a busboy. Okay, they tried to stab me. They dumped over the linen bin and stuck steak knives through it because they wanted to see if I would rat. Well, I did not rat because
they ordered a code red on you first day,
they code reded my ass too. Except there was no Kiefer Sutherland or Jack Nicholson. These two fuckers went rogue. They went mercenary. Nobody told them to. In fact, I heard the other waitresses saying, "Stop, stop." I'm in there giggling because all the linen is around me, and I hear the knives coming through, but I'm surrounded by this cocoon of dirty tablecloths and napkins. So then they let me up. And they're like, "We're just fucking with you." Okay.
Welcome to Fort Pierce.
Yeah, and so the next day when I went in at 6 a.m., they had a big Sunday brunch going on. They tell me, go start rolling stuff out, and I go into the walk-in cooler. There's pre-shucked oysters, and there's the two guys that tried to stab me, Maurice and Chris, getting high. They're like, "You're cool, have some." So there I was, 6 in the morning, getting high and eating oysters on my second day at work. I was 15 years old.
You were accepted.
Yeah, whatever happened, at that point, I was in the circle of trust because
you did not rat.
No, but just bad shit happened. Like one of the subsequent Sunday brunches, there's like this disconnect between the day crew and the night crew.
Always.
And there's like a 2-hour break between the end of brunch and the beginning of the night crew coming in. And on that brunch, they had made a steamship round of beef, stuck it in a walk-in heater.
Right.
So it's just sitting there at the end when everybody's about to go home. And I see it in there and I'm like, "Oh man, that's a shame." And one of the other waiters, I remember this guy Joe Couturier, said, "They're going to throw that out." I said, "Well, fuck that." So I took it out, grabbed a couple gloves, and I started getting foil and wrapping it. "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to take it home. You just said they're going to throw it out." And I knew they would because those night guys didn't want anything to do with that shit. Those guys were some fucking criminals. They used to yell at each other and curse, and I thought they were going to kill each other, but by the end of the night, they were getting high and drinking too. I didn't get it until I worked in a restaurant. Those guys could say the worst shit and do the worst shit to each other, still be friends. But they wanted nothing to do with the day crew shit, and they would have thrown out an entire steamship round of beef that's the size of one of our thighs, and they're pretty big. So I wrapped it up in foil, took off my apron as a busboy, and wrapped it up in there and walked out the back door. He says, "What are you going to do to that?" I said, "Well, I can't take it home here." Gave it to him. I said, "My parents see me coming in the door with this. They're just going to stomp my ass in sideways. You fucking take it home. You got a wife and kid." So I didn't see him for about a week, and he says, dude, we've been eating that shit all week. I'm sick of it. But that was, I never did anything remotely like that until I worked in a restaurant.
That's
Getting
too
a
funny.
job taught me to be a criminal. It was everything in my life. I'm
And now you work for the school district.
yeah, I don't think I've really done anything criminal there.
No, absolutely not.
And if I did, I don't remember.
It's a trip. So Jay, Ed, you're too funny, man. My favorite part about that is we say whatever we want throughout the shift, and at the end of the night, we are all buddies. And
Yeah,
that's
well, that was like in waiting. Everybody's just bitching and yelling, and the
All
worst
day.
shit's going on, and they still end up at somebody's apartment drinking and smoking and fucking around.
we would just say the meanest things to each other all shift, but at the end of the night, it's all gone. And I've never, ever, till I was 27 years old, never had anything health wrong with me, anything. As soon as I start teaching 1 year, fucking blood
you were
pressure,
fucked,
medication.
Your shoulder and knee
Yeah,
falling
bro.
apart.
It is what it is. I'm old and broken.